Okay, so this was the question that we were referring. It is from your textbook, right? So it is talking about an home alarm system. So that alarm system will trigger, or the alarm will trigger whenever any particular door or a window is open in that premises, right? So in the question we discussed, there are two windows and two doors in this particular circuit. And if any one is get open, the alarm is about to buzz or about to trigger, right? So I told you, when you are given this kind of a situation or this kind of a scenario, first thing that we have to do is we have to determine what are the inputs and the outputs first, right? So it is easy for you to capture the inputs and outputs. Specifically when it comes to the output, it is a little easy for you to capture who is going to execute or who is going to on or something that you can capture from your scenario. So then you are going to see who is going to control your output. In this case, there is an alarm which is going to trigger. So who is helping to trigger that, right? So likewise, we will be able to figure out what are the inputs of this particular circuit, right? So once we figure out the inputs and outputs, it's better we assign a particular variable. That means a different English letter, right? Or in case if we can use like D1, D2, W1, W2, like I use, like it's a combination of letters and the numbers, right? So it's good to assign that kind of a thing. So it will be very helpful for you to formulate the expression, right? So then we are going to proceed, or we are going to determine the states of these particular inputs and outputs. Why we are going to determine the states? Because when it comes to the Boolean algebra, or when it comes to the logic gates, it is always talking about two different states which are opposite to each other. So if we are going to create or design a logic gate, we have to determine what are the different states, two different states, or in other words, the two states of these particular inputs and outputs. So according to that, we were figuring out what can be the inputs, what can be the states of these inputs and outputs. So then we figured out, like, since there are four inputs, which is door1, door2, window1, window2, which are denoted by D1, D2, and W1 and W2. So we figured out there are two states, which is called the open and close for each and every door and a window, right? So for door1, we indicate open by logic value 1, and we indicate closed by logic value 0, right? And accordingly, we have illustrated that the state 1 and state 0 using our variable as well, right? So we generally take 1 as the natural state of the variable, and we get 0 as the complemented state of the variable. So that means, in simple terms, 1 indicates D1, 0 indicates D1 bar, right? If you take X as this, as the variable, so X will indicate 1, X bar will indicate 0. That's the general way that we are going to consider, right? So likewise, for each and every door and a window, we have determined what are the states, in this case only open and closing states that each and every door and a window is going to have. So they are represented by their corresponding variables, right? So when it comes to the D2, 1 is indicated by D2, 0 is indicated by D2 bar. And when it comes to the window 1, W1 indicates the 1, W1 bar will indicate the 0. So the same way W2 indicates 1 and W2 bar indicates 0, right? And we took capital A to indicate the alarm. So alarm, A will indicate the on state of the alarm, which indicates by 1, and off states indicates by 0, which is corresponding to A bar, right? So once we figure that out, we figure out the inputs and outputs, then we figure out the states of the input and outputs. Then after, we are going to figure out about the most important thing in this scenario or in this question, which is a particular expression, a simple expression, actually a simple expression, which describes the nature of the output according to the inputs, or like how the inputs is going to control the output. So here they are talking about like triggering an alarm or making the state on of the alarm using the inputs. So we wrote a simple expression by using our own words, right? So we say alarm is on either door 1 or door 2 or window 1 or window 2 is open, right? Actually, this is going to be opened, right? So ED should be there. Right. So then we match that expressions to the variables that we have determined. So alarm is on. You can clearly see the alarm is on indicates by A according to that particular variable. So off states indicate by A bar, on state indicate by A. So because of that, we have taken A equals, so alarm is on. So output is the alarm. So we generally write our output at the left-hand side of our equation. So A equals to, now we are going to write how the variables or the inputs are going to control this particular alarm, right? Yes, I know, Buddha, I know. So after we discuss this, I'll give you the time to write this, Dilani, right? So then we have summarized the things. We have taken either door 1 or door 2 or window 1 or window 2 is opened. Now open state. Open means it indicates by 1 regarding a door or a window, right? So according to the variables that we have figured out, we can use D1, D2, W1, and W2. We don't need to use any D1 bars, D2 bars, W1 bars, and W2 bars. ඒගොල්ලන්ව පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ අපිට. මොකද open state එක ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. Right? So we simply say door 1 is open, so we indicate it by D1, or that is a very important word, or. Then D2 is open, so D2, or W1 is open, W1, or W2 is open, W2. So then we have converted the word O, or the word O, into its symbol, right? According to the Boolean algebra, we know O indicates by plus, and is going to indicate by a dot. So here we have O in every place. So we replace O by a plus, right? So we can have the final answer, which is called A equals D1 plus, D2 plus, W1 plus, W2, right? So once we are having this kind of an equation, it is very easy for us to draw our circuit. Now in your book, they have used 3 OR gates to complete this by assuming OR gate is having only 2 inputs, right? So how we are going to draw it? We have D1 over here, we have D2 over here, we have W1 over here, and we have W2 over here. So we take 2 lines from D1 and D2, we just send it through a OR gate, and we take W1 and W2, and we send it through a OR gate again. And from the output, of these OR gates. Later, we are sending it through another OR gate. So this one is going to give you D1 plus D2. This is going to give you W1 plus W2. And this output is going to give you the entire expression, which is D1 plus D2 plus W1 plus W2. Right? Okay, people, did you get that up to this point? Any questions regarding this? Is that clear, everyone? Right, great. Okay, so this is a one method. So let me say method one to this circuit. And you can draw this just by using a one OR gate. And remember, people, in your question, if you have given any constraints or any limitations, if the question says you can only use OR gates which has two inputs, then of course you have to go it using the like you have to draw it using the circuit which I have drawn in the method one. Inputs dekak විතරක් ගන්න OR gates විතරක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න කිව්වොත් ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ. Dihan, I was actually summarizing the thing from the beginning, Puta. Weren't you at the class from the beginning? Right? So then of course you have to refer the video, but I was like going through the things that we have done last week, right? Now we are going to write this down as well, right? So if we do not have any limitations, we can draw this circuit like this as well. So D1, D2, W1, W2. So we can just use a single OR gate to send all these things through it. So it will straight away providing you the output. Right? So that will be the end of this thing. All right, people, let's write this down. I'll start it from the beginning, right? So you can have it, and it's better you have the a heading called practical usage of logic gates, right? Practical usage of logic gates. And with that heading, you can go for the things that is on the whiteboard, right? So it's better you write down the example one and the yellow color highlighted part on your book as well, so we can see the scenario. Then you will continue, right, with our steps. Right, so I'm going to move the screen like time to time, right? So you may copy it as quickly as possible.
So we have to write this paragraph?
Yes, you have to do that. Have this heading first, practical usage of logic gates, that will be your heading. Then after you have to write this paragraph and only the highlighted area. කහපාටින් highlight කරලා තියෙන ටික විතරයි ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. අර පොඩි part එකක් highlight කරලා නැහැ නේ, ඒක ලියන්න එපා. Then after the steps that I have done.
Okay.
Right. පුතා topic එක මේ practical usage of logic gates කියන එක ඔයාගේ 124 වෙනි පිටුවේ පොතේ තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ example 1 කියන තැන ඉඳලා තියෙන ටික ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. right example 1 වලට අදාළ ටික පොතෙනුත් ගන්න පුළුවන්. පුතා හිමි ටික copy කරගන්න මම හිමි මේක ටික උඩට ගන්නවා. Oh, Ranuja, okay. I'm taking it down. Copy it down. Yes, Inupama, you have to. Otherwise, we don't get any idea about the situation. That is why we are writing the paragraph on the textbook. Okay, I'm moving this up a little. I'll make it a little bit smaller so you can see the things. ලෙතිර පුළුවන්. බායක වෙනුවට ඩෑෂ් එක දාන්න පුළුවන්. No problem. If you miss anything, just let me know, right? All right, Inupama, it's not a very big deal, Dua. I'll explain it when it comes to that point, Dua. The second method. It's just a simple thing. Right, moving upward. Let me know if you are missing anything. නෑ සුදම් ඔන්ලයින් ක්ලාස් එක පුතේ තියෙන්නේ නැනපෙත පන්ති පටන් ගන්නකම් විතරයි ඊට පස්සේ ඒක ඕෆ්ලයින් පුතේ මේ ටයිම් එකටම තමයි ඕෆ්ලයින් ක්ලාස් එක තියෙන්නේ ෆිසිකල් ක්ලාස් එක තියෙන්නේ right I'm moving a little bit upward Dihan, is this enough? Ranuja, like in the Boolean algebra පුතා, like O gate operation indicated by a plus. ඒකයි අපි O එක plus කියලා ලියන්නේ පුතා. අපි O gate එක indicate කරන්නේ plus වලින්නේ. So we match that O with a plus sign. That is why. Right. So just draw the second method. And Inupama, do I think you were talking about this method? Now, here it's not a very big thing that we have done. Like since the OR gate can have more than two particular inputs, we took all four inputs into a one particular OR gate. So it will give us the same output, and it will minimize the number of OR gates that we are using. All right. Is there anyone still doing this? Yes, everyone. Okay, Dihan, hurry up. We have to go to a question as well. All right. Are we done? Lamai? Is there anyone still writing this? All right. So let's try a particular question that is from your textbook, right? So I want you to try this activity. Now this activity is given the circuit in the next page as well, right? So I want you to try that. Read the question carefully and give it a try. I'll give you how many time? Let's say I'm going to give you 5 to 6 minutes, right? If you need more, I'll give you more when the time comes. But for the moment, just try this. It is in the page number 127 and the circuit is given at the page number 128. So it will be easier for you to figure out, right? So just see whether you will be able to manage this. So go with the things that we have done, and people, importantly, you don't need to write like this. Step by step for you to understand, right? So you can do the rough work and straight away come to the circuit, right? And in the question, they haven't asked about an expression. Expression question, but I want you to have that expression, right? You have to derive the expression. Now you know how to derive the one, right? Then try to complete the circuit, right? Just give it a try, people. I'll give you, yeah, it's 6:37 is the time. And yeah, I'll give you the time until 6:45. In case if you are done, just send me the expression that you have derived, right? So read it carefully, match the things carefully, and take the specific answer. No, Ranuja, you don't need to write the question. Lamai, don't write the question on the book. Just put the activity number and the page number and just draw the write the expression and draw the circuit. That is enough. Okay, let me see. Yadisha, there is like I need to know what is A, B, and C, and again I think there are slight mistake, right? Like part is correct and part is not. So just think how it's going to happen. Think practically as well, right? It's a good try. Give it some thoughts again. Dilni, yeah, I think you have grabbed the answer. Yes. And again, I need the clarification of A, B, and C. What is for A and what is for B and what is for C? I think you have grabbed the answer. Yes, people. How about it? Do you want more time or can we discuss it? Yeah. And yeah, Dilni, according to that, yes, your answer is correct. Answer is correct. Dihan, yeah, yes, Dihan, I think they are asking you to write the gates, which is need to put inside the empty boxes, right? That is what they are asking basically. Right. Okay, let's discuss this. Now, when you are doing this question, you have to read this very carefully. Otherwise, you are going to mix the things up. Right? Let's see how this is going to happen. Okay, so wait until I take this onto my whiteboard. Rusira, yeah, Rosira, you have slightly missed one gate. Dihan, පුතේ මොන ඇක්ටිවිටි එක ගැනද අහන්නේ? නෑ ඒක ලියන්න ඕනේ නෑ පුතේ. ලියන්න ඕනේ නෑ. page එකයි activity එකයි දාලා circuit එක යන්න තරම් ඇති. Right. Now in the question it says a motor car manufacturing company has manufactured a motor car protecting circuit. Gavindu, you have to specify what are the places, right? Anyway, no gate is not going to come. A motor car manufacturing company has manufactured a motor car protecting circuit to warn if there is a movement in the car when the engine is not on or when the engine is damaged to a shutter. I'm sorry, when there is a damage to a shutter. Now, that particular sentence is enough for you to get an idea about the scenario. They have created this circuit to alarm you when there is a glass break or when there is a what we call the damage to a shutter, or when there is a movement when the engine is not on, right? So now I'm not quite agree with the way that they have present the question over here. It is something mixable, but with the circuit you can clear out the things, right? So let's clarify the things. It says the alarm system works, or the security system works when there is a damage to a shutter, or when the engine is not, when the car is on the movement, in case when the engine is not on, right? So it says if there is a movement in the car when the engine is not on, or when there is a damage to a shutter, right? So all two scenarios, or like either you got a damage to a shutter, still car should be on the move, right? And I'm sorry, if you got a damage to a shutter, or if you got a movement, both the things should happen when the engine is not on, right? And it's better if it describes in a different way than this, but with the circuit that is given to you, you can have the idea what is going on here. And the next thing, the important part, the states are given right over here. This has 3 sensors to detect whether the engine is on, and another sensor to detect whether there is a damage to a shutter. Another sensor is there to detect whether the car is moving. The circuit is designed with 3 basic circuits. One of these is a NOT gate, and the other 2 gates likewise should be included in the empty boxes. So they are asking you to put the things in the empty box, right? So now look at the things that we have to determine. Now, first of all, what we have to determine is we have to determine what are the inputs and the outputs of this scenario. So it says a motor car manufacturing company has manufactured a motor car protecting circuit to warn if there is a movement in the car when the engine is not on, or when there is a damage to a shutter. So then what is going to be the output? The warning, right? Circuit to warn, that is going to be the output. And why it is going to warn you? When there is a movement in the car, when the engine is not on, or when there is a damage to a shutter, right? So this is going to be the output, right? And these 3 things are going to control that output, right? And it says this has 3 sensors to detect whether engine is on. Now that is the tricky part. The sensor considered whether the engine is on, and another sensor to detect when there is a damage to a shutter, and another sensor to detect whether the car is moving, right? So the sensors will sense whether the engine is on, whether there is a damage to a shutter, and whether the car is moving, right? Now, if we clarify the things into our method, so what are the inputs and what is the output? So it's going to be, first one is going to be engine, right? Now engine has 2 states, which is on and off, right? So, and the shutter damage sensor, this indicate the damage or no damage, right? And the movement sensor, and this indicates moving, not moving, right? And if we consider A as engine, B as shutter damage sensor, and C as movement sensor, engine on is indicated by 1, which indicates A. Off indicated by 0, which indicates A bar. B damage indicates by 1, which indicates by B. And no damage indicates by a 0, which indicates by B bar. Moving can be indicated by 1, which indicates by C, and not moving indicate by a 0, which can indicate by C bar, right? And the output, the warning alarm or the warning, right? So warning is on and warning can be off, right? So if you take warning indicates by a W, right? So on will indicate 1, which is W, and off indicates 0, which is W bar. Okay, people, is that clear? Dihan, empty box means මේ මෙතන circuit එක ඇඳලා තියෙන empty box කියලා පුතා ඒක තමයි ඒකෙන් mean කරන්නේ. These boxes. මේ boxes වලට මොකක්ද දෙන්න ඕන gate එක කියලා තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ අහන්නේ පුතේ. Right? So, yeah, people, is it clear up to this point? මේ තමයි inputs and outputs ටික. These are the states. Any questions regarding this? Right. Okay. And people, if you got any question, you must question that. That is the way that you can learn. Right? Okay, now let's find out, let's write the praise, right? As I told you, how the output is controlled by the inputs. නෑ දිහාන් මෙහෙමයි. ඕගොල්ලොන්ට මේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් දීලා ප්‍රශ්නයෙන් අහන්න පුතේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එක්ක එක්ස්ප්‍රෙෂන් එක ලියන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් සර්කිට් එක අඳින්න. එහෙම හුවම මෙහෙම පෙන්වන්න අවශ්‍ය නෑ. මේක රෆ් වර්ක් එකක් වගේ කරලා එක්ස්ප්‍රෙෂන් එක ලිව්වම ඇති. සර්කිට් එක අඳින්න කිව්වොත් සර්කිට් එක ඇඳම ඇති. right? මෙච්චර කාලයකට විභාග ඉතිහාසයේ අහලා නැහැ එහෙම workings පෙන්වන්න කියලා. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඕගොල්ලන්ට help එකකුත් එක්ක දෙනවා. එක්ක බාගට ඇතුළු සර්කිට් එකක් ඔය වගේ, right? නැත්නම් expression එක ලියන්න කියලා. So you can do your workings on the rough paper and you can just write the equation. That's all. Right? Okay, let's write the sentence. So how we are going to describe this? Right? We can describe it like this. Warning is on when engine is off and shutter is damaged or car is moving, right? No, Dilni, you don't need to. I'm just doing the rough working. දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ working එක හරියට කරගත්තේ නැති වුණා නම් approach වෙච්ච විදිහ ලියා ගන්න එක ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Right? පොතේ ලියාගත්තට කමක් නැහැ. But in the examination, if they ask you to write these things, then you should. If they don't, you have the liberty to not to write it. Right? Okay, so now I'm going to map or match the things from the variables that I have drawn here. Right? So how we are going to do it? Warning is on. So warning is on means what? I can use W. Right? See, I have written W over here, which indicates the warning is on. So I'm going to have W. So that is my output. And it says engine is off. Right? So I took the engine as A. So off position indicated by A bar. Right? Right over here. And damage to the shutter, which indicates by B, or car is on the move. Right? So I'm going to say, and damage to the shutter, which means B, or car is on the move, which means C. And if you left your equation like this is going to cause you an error. Now you have to think practically. Now, when is going to have the alarm? The engine shouldn't be started, or like engine is off in the positions where the engine is off, right? Security system. So that means someone can come and break the shutter while the car is stopping somewhere. So alarm should buzz. Or someone can take your vehicle away without starting the vehicle. So car is moving without the engine is on. Right? So that means this B or C, one of those or the both should happen with when the engine is not on. Right? So that gives you the final answer, which is A bar dot B plus C, because and can be indicated by a dot or can be indicated by a plus. Now I'll show you what happens if you do not, or like if you forget the brackets. Right? If you say it like this, W equals A bar and B O C, like this, you are going to have A bar dot B plus C. Now, in this case, A bar dot B going to indicate one big bundle, and C is going to be considered as a separate thing. Now, this indicates what? Your alarm is going to buzz when the engine is not on and the glass breaking should happen. So it is a correct scenario. Car එක move වෙනවා, engine එක on නැහැ කියන්නේ නිකන් move කරගෙන යනවා. Engine එක not on, glass is braked. So engine එක on වෙලා නැහැ, glass එක බිඳිලා. Alarm should happen. So alarm එක වෙනවා එතනදී. But think about this scenario. The C indicates what? Car is on the move. Car එක move වෙනවා. So car එක move වෙද්දී alarm එක වැදුනොත් then කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් engine එක on නොකර car එක move කරත් still car is moving. If the owner starts the engine and moves the car, again car is moving. Right? But do we need to have the alarm when the driver or the owner is moving the car? No. Yeah, කායක move කරන්නේ කායක engine එක start කරලා කායක move කරනවා. Right? එතකොට alarm එක වදින්න ඕනේ නැහැ. But according to this, it doesn't consider about the engine position. This only consider whether the car is on the move or not. Right? එතකොට ඒකේ scenarios දෙක කැඩලා තියෙන්නේ එහෙම. එක scenario එකක් තියෙනවා engine එක off, glass එක break වෙලා. එතකොට alarm එක වදින්න ඕනේ. It's a true scenario. එතකොට security okay. තව scenario එකක් තියෙනවා එහෙම නෙවෙයි නම් plus එකෙන් කියන්නේ O කියන එකනේ. That scenario O when the car is moving. So it is not going to be a correct way of illustrating it. මොකද car එක move වෙන එක engine එක on නොකර move කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, engine එක on කරලා move කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. But engine එක on කරලා move කරනකොට alarm එක buzz වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. alarm එක on වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Right? So because of that, this is considered as a wrong implementation. Is that clear, people?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So then at the end, you can add question එක දුන්නම question එක mark කරන කෙනා mark ඕගලන්ගෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ expression එක. If they ask for an expression, if they ask for a circuit, they don't ask for the expression, but it's better you write it, right? Then you have to draw the circuit. So according to mine, A is going to be inside a NOT gate, and B and C is going to go through an OR gate, and then after these two is going to go through an AND gate, right? Which is going to give me A bar dot B plus C, right? So this is, in most of the case, this is going to be your answer, right? I'm sorry, from here, this is going to be your answer, the expression and the circuit. Rest of the things are rough work, right? But if you didn't came up with an answer, the correct answer, it's better you write this on the book. ඒක තමයි ඔයාට පෙන්වන්නේ පස්සේ වෙලාවක ඔයා කොහොමද මේක ආගිව් කරේ කියන එක. Right? Yes, Dihan. Circuit එක යන්දම හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නය අහලා තියෙන්නේ Dihan ප්‍රශ්න දෙවිදියකට අහන්න පුළුවන්. It will ask for you to draw the circuit, or it will ask for you to write the expression. කියන්නේ මෙයාව අහන්න, මෙයාව ලියන්න කියලා අහන්නත් පුළුවන්, circuit එක අඳින්න අහන්නත් පුළුවන්, සමහරට දෙකම අහන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒතර අදාළ දේ ලියලා හෝ ඇඳලා පෙන්නන්න. Right? Okay, I'll give you a minute for the people who have not completed this, for you to complete it. Then I'm going to give you another question so you can try. Right? Okay, take a minute and complete it. මේ මං කපලා තියෙන ටික ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ නෑ ළමයි. This is only for the explanation. No, Gavindu, again, if the question asks for you to write the expression, only expression is enough, Buddha. Rest of the things can be taken as a rough works. And in case if the question asks you to show your workings, then of course you have to write those things on the paper. But in the exam history, they haven't asked for something like that. So all those things are there for to do in the rough work, to do in the rough sheets, and just the expression is enough, right? Okay, is there anyone still writing this? Otherwise, we can go for the question. All right, so I'm going to show you the question. Okay, so yeah, this is the question. So write this down onto your books, right? You need that question, right? Then try to come up with. I have asked two things: write a Boolean expression for the automatic gate opening system, and then the second one, draw a logic circuit to illustrate the above expression, right? So you may do those things. Oh, I'm sorry. Now be very careful when you are answering for those kind of questions, because they are easy. And again, it is easy for you to misunderstand. නෑ ඒ කියන්නේ දිහාන් මේ ප්‍රශ්න දැන් මේ මම දීලා තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ කරනකොට ඒක ඕගොල්ලෝ පොතේ රෆ් වර්ක් එකක් කරලම සර්කිට් එක ඇඳලා කමක් නෑ පොතේ. මොකද ඕගලන්ට පස්සේ බලනකොට ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන නිසා. right? විභාගෙදී ඔයාට රෆ් වර්ක් එක ඕනේ නැහැ. ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තර විතරක් ලියුවා නම් ඇති. right? නමුත් දැන් පොතේ කරනකොට workings ටික එතනම කරන්න. කොලවල කරන්න යන්න එපා. So that will be clear for you to check on another time. Right now, you keep trying, people, since it is the time is 7:14. If you write down the question, you can try it at home, but you have to send me the answer, right? Mata WhatsApp karanna one answer එක, right? So I'm going to discuss the question by next week, right? So have it clearly, right? And do the workings and send me the answer, right? WhatsApp me the answer before the next class. And I'm going to discuss this particular question on next week, right? And then we are going to jump to the new lesson, which is the Excel. And there is another important message. I'm going to give you an exam, right? And it is after the Excel lesson, right? So it's better you start rehearsing and revisioning the things that we have done, right? So at the end of the Excel work, I'm going to present you an exam, right? So better be prepared, right? The question will be there until the lessons that we have done, including the Excel as well, right? So by next week, we are going to start a new lesson after discussing this particular question, right? Okay, so thank you very much for today then, right? I'm going to end the session from here. If you got any question, you can stay and ask. Otherwise, you can leave, right? Have a very good night. And we'll meet you on the next week for the very same time. Thank you very much, everyone. Right, thank you very much. Okay, Dilmi. Okay, Rusila, thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. Right, Risara, thank you. Good night. Yes, stay safe, people.